What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Dylan and Ross Save Sports with a special guest today. As always, you've got Dylan Sanders at Dilly Sanders on Twitter, myself, Ross Jackson at Ross Jackson Nola on Twitter, and today we are joined by our good friend Kyle Sinra, who's basically a co-host with us because he's always here supporting and in the chat and talking with us. So we're just very glad to have him here. You can follow him on Twitter at Sinra Says for all your fantasy needs. Kyle, how are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great. I wouldn't say the show needs saving. Fantastic, but yeah, I guess here to save fantasy. Fantasy.
I love it.
There we go. I like it. That's the one. That's the winner. Winner, chicken dinner.
And hopefully we give fantasy advice that'll help you win your league.
Hopefully. Don't give too good of advice while Ross is paying attention because I want to beat him.
I know. Last year, Dylan and I were in an FPC just standard redraft group. I can't remember how that ended because I entirely fell off of it like halfway through the season.
I think you guys were in the Full Press Radio League, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us who know football, like, joke was on us because it was Chris Blackie who won, and he's from the Full Press, the Big Bad Bruins podcast. So I mean, he's more of a hockey guy.
Right.
I think he's from Northeast, so I think he's a Patriots fan. But showed all the football people whose boss and the hockey guy came in and won it. So that's Full Press coverage for you.
Yeah,
I won one fantasy league last year, and it was the Saints Twitter podcast fantasy league.
That's
Ross.
That's right.
I beat Adam and Ryan and all them. You know, Ryan can win all of the March Madness tournaments he wants. I beat him in fantasy.
That's where the real
to me, that's way more
are.
important, but I'm also super biased on that. So Full Press Fantasy Pod, right? We don't really talk about college March Madness fantasy football, so that to me that's way more important.
That's right. Make sure that you are checking out that Full Press Fantasy Pod here with Kyle and friends over on wherever you get your podcasts, honestly, but you could also catch it over on the Full Press coverage app. So, Kyle, as we get started with today's episode, we want to kind of dive right into fantasy here, and usually we do our favorite things from Twitter as well as our performance of the day. So I do want to open the floor. Do you have a favorite thing from Twitter that you wanted to bring in today? I just in case you had something.
My favorite thing was Dylan sending me the link to get to the show. So here it is.
There we go.
Gotta love that. My favorite thing from Twitter today centers around Hard Knocks, which we're going to talk about in the second half of today's episode a little bit. Dylan hasn't seen it yet, so I don't want to talk too much about it until we might save it for tomorrow's episode, actually, because I want Dylan to be able to see it. So we'll go back to it, or we'll come back around to it. Dylan, did you have anything?
There's a couple things. It's been a big day on Twitter, Ross.
Yeah, it has been a big day on Twitter.
I've beefing with a politician. I'm
checkmark life, I guess.
That's right.
Twitter changed the font like 30 minutes ago, randomly in front of my eyes. I refreshed, reopened the app, and then the font changed. Like right in front of my eyes. I noticed it more in DMs. And I hate it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like the new font.
I was freaking out.
I do not see a new font.
Let me screenshot this tweet from the great Matty Hudak and see if it jogs your memory, or see if it just hasn't changed for you yet.
It might not have changed for me because I see absolutely no difference, and I've been staring at my phone literally all morning.
This app looks oh my god, this app looks different. Everything's different. I don't like it. Oh my god.
Maybe you're on Twitter.
yeah, maybe you're on Facebook, Dylan. You ever think about that? You're just in the wrong app,
red
maybe?
Play button in the top left. No, it's they took away all the color. It's all white and black now. And they changed the font. What is going on with Twitter today?
Do you smell burnt toast, buddy? Are you good? Like, did you just lose?
I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. I put some toast on right before we started recording.
You should have put that on.
Either way, Ross might have just saved Dylan. So
that's right.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely.
I sent you.
It's definitely. I just got on Twitter. It's this.
Ross, I sent you the picture.
No, mine is entirely still blue background, white text. Mine is like the navy blue background.
Yeah,
still there.
Do you
like,
see
I've
the
got
different
the color.
font, though?
Yeah, the font's different. The color's still there. So maybe I'm just halfway through the transition, right? I haven't fully got over to what Dylan has yet, but I've got parts of it. So I guess check out tomorrow how different Twitter is going to be.
Yeah, I guess so.
Changing
I'm going to send in a. Okay, wait. I want to see if my. Okay, what is my
have an old tweet that's screenshot by chance that I could see that I could? Certainly. I mean, you have the politician beefing with you from yesterday.
Oh yeah,
I could pull that up.
I'm gonna.
Sorry, this is now dissolved into Dylan and Ross and Kyle inspect Twitter.
That's. I mean, hey, this. This is our Twitter segment for the day.
It's funny, and I think it will tie in nicely, right? Because the dynasty player values do kind of shift moment to moment, seemingly like Twitter's doing right now in its entire existence.
Wow.
So
that's good.
A Sanders segue if I've ever heard one.
Has Miles Sanders has not been taken in the
All right, I sent y'all a picture of a screenshot of Maddie's account so you can see the following button and the DM button and the notification button are all white now. You can see all of the different fonts, and then I sent you the screenshot from yesterday of old Sebi's account. Sebi's DMs with me, so you can see that the font is different.
Yeah, the font is different.
A little smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And I see the full screenshot so you can compare to your phone what it actually looks like.
Yeah, mine still has like the colored background. Mine is not a black background.
Mm-hmm.
Is that offensive, what I just said?
Who knows? Who knows?
I feel like Ross would know, right?
I know, right?
You have to answer that question yourself, Ross.
Right. Did I just offend myself? I don't know.
Another one of my favorite things from Twitter is we got to realize the new generation of NBA players grew up with Twitter. Like they were kids on Twitter. So Josh Christopher had a bunch of tweets come up from his past whenever he was 14, as he commented. And don't worry, this is not the normal bad tweets resurfacing.
I was ready for this to be not good.
But no, it's really funny. He said, I was a really big LeBron fanboy. I was 14. So these are some great tweets. He has Clay better than Steph. And then he tweeted at NBA 2K, bro, y'all foul. I'm an OT. 11 seconds left, and guess who rips Kyrie? Steph Cotton Candy Curry. I need answers right now. Not real.
Wow.
Saying Steph Curry is the greatest.
Cotton Candy Curry. Wow.
That's a good one.
I don't know
just that alone.
I've always called him that.
How are they going to name the sneaker Steph, but he's the one getting cooked? And then my favorite, Steven Adams greater than Steph Curry.
At playing center? Maybe.
Yeah, right.
maybe.
Not for sure, though.
Right.
He'd be a better center than Steven Adams.
But all this is done. Someone shared this, obviously wanting to, make fun of Josh Christopher. But as he pointed out, he was 14, and it has only endured him, into Rockets Twitter. Rockets fandom loves him even more now because the Rockets and the Warriors, not the best of friends.
Yeah.
Over the past couple of years. Don't know why, but yeah. And lastly, Ross, Sarah shared a tweet that ruined my night. Kyle, did you see the picture of the what is it? Fat baby from Las Vegas?
Oh my gosh.
I feel like I kind of saw stuff on Twitter. I just scrolled through without really paying attention, though. So
all right. Well, I'm going to bring this up. We're going to watch this together. You're not going to escape it, Ross. You're going to have to watch it again.
I hate it.
And I did
some additional research on the sandwich, by the way.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to see. But this is what we're going to be talking about for the next little bit. Already, I'm out. This looks way too messy. It just looks like wet bread and noodles.
That's really all that it is.
All right.
And this is considered a sandwich.
Somehow, some way.
Yes. And
I
now
can see why claim hot dogs are sandwiches. It looks more like a sandwich than this.
And now they're putting a whole bone-in chicken into the sandwich.
It's like a Cornish hen or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
like an entire
Yeah, I know.
An entire carcass in your sandwich.
And now they're just
and then whatever that is,
cheese spaghetti over it.
They claim it's a sauce. I don't know if I would call that a sauce. Sauce shouldn't cling onto the bowl from which it's poured.
All right.
It mostly looks like cheese.
And the comment says, the infamous fat baby from Amana, Las Vegas. You know you want one. I can name a lot of things I want more than that. And most of them aren't pleasant.
Oh,
man.
Nice.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Kyle, how would you rate wanting that? How much would you want that on a scale from 1 to 10?
So 1 being bad and 10 Kyle being awesome, because...
Yeah.
Probably 1. I don't know. Maybe a 2.
Yeah.
2. I think I'll counting 0 if we're going with Roman numerals and 0 doesn't exist. An entire onion, being forced to eat an onion would be 1. So this is probably 2. I didn't notice how much onions, but I'm definitely anti-onion in almost every facet of food.
Yeah.
Wow.
I disagree with you, but I hear you. I would put this just barely above ranch dressing. Barely above ranch dressing.
Oh man. Yeah, no, it looks pretty bad. I would definitely try it if it was in front of me. No, it looks disgusting. As you pointed out, Ross, they did not put any colors other than beige.
There's nothing. How do you have all of that inside of a sandwich and the entire damn thing is beige and or brown?
Watch Futurama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember early on, there's that C's race that everything is beige, boring, right? Like, please tell my wife if I don't survive. Right? It seems like something they would eat.
That's right.
I think they would probably think it's too disgusting, but it looks appeasing. But my stomach does not.
The bone.
I don't know.
Yeah. The bone-in chicken probably would deter them from eating it. That's the other part of this too. If you have to take something out of the sandwich in order to eat it, is it still a sandwich at that point? Because it's also,
I feel like it takes more effort to eat it for them to put it together.
Oh, 1,000. You saw that dude just not care, just slop everything in. He put that sandwich together with the same vigor of a prison cafeteria worker. That was the care that was put into preparing that quote unquote sandwich. It's a monstrosity.
Ross, did you say you did a little bit more investigation about it?
I did, because I wanted to see how they justified this crap on a plate. And I wanted to know, what is it that they put to make you want to eat it on their website and on the menu. And the fact of the matter is nothing. They do nothing to pacify this crime against humanity at all. It's literally described. It's literally described on the website as an open-ended hero, which, by the way, we'll come back to that is filled with pasta and sauce and chicken. That's all that they say. They don't say anything about what the sauce is, if it's a cheese sauce. They do nothing to pretty this up and make it appealing. They just basically admit that it's terrible by telling you it's 3 ingredients in a very generic fashion. Second, why does it have to be an open-ended hero? Because now I'm curious how you're supposed to eat this thing, because I thought maybe the bottom of it, as we saw the quote-unquote ingredients being slopped into the vessel of bread, I thought that maybe the bottom of it was closed off. If it's open-ended, that means it is literally a crust tube that's being filled by random things found in the kitchen.
Calling it a crust tube is awful, right? But it probably seems like it's the most appropriate way.
Right.
I'm now looking at the menu, and I don't know if this is the worst thing on their menu, Ross.
Oh, I know.
Oh, God.
It's terrible. Their menu's terrible.
They have
I want
something.
to know who buys, who goes and eats and buys this and pays for this, and who, I want to know, not customer, like receipts or not even that, just
what's
reviews.
Your
that's
food
the word I'm
cost
looking
on this
for.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm definitely going to this place next time I go to Las Vegas out of sheer curiosity. But they have this thing on their menu called a piezoni, which is a pizza, but half of it is folded into a calzone. What? This is a disgrace. We have the Big Texas Fat Baby, which is penne mac and cheese, buttermilk hush puppy, and ribs. Just some ribs in the middle of your sandwich.
Bone-in ribs in the middle of. This is.
Oh, here we go. Here's
in Vegas, right? Is that's anywhere but Vegas, or like?
I think it's just
Vegas.
Vegas.
Only Vegas, yeah.
This has the feeling of an only Vegas restaurant.
You'd have to. I wonder how many percentage of the customers have something else other than food before going there.
Right. Oh, it's got to be like 99.9% because I might have accidentally walked in once.
Too hungry to go anywhere else.
And lastly, the last one I want to share is this one that is whole baby clams, clam juice, garlic, olive oil, and oregano.
I'm trying not even to think about it. I don't think my brain wants that.
Yeah, I have trouble. I'm struggling with the phrase whole baby clams as if that's a thing we should just accept.
To be fair, they're putting baby on everything, right? Like
that's fair.
Like the baby, like that seems like it's their thing. Like like all the waitresses and servers will call you honey and baby all the time. It's probably their stick, their thing. I don't know. I've actually never been to Vegas, so I have no.
The hotels are cool. I go for the architecture. Like legitimately, like Megan and I go and we just walk through the casinos to see the way that they're all set up and decorated. That's literally it. And Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
That's my level of enjoying Vegas.
And this restaurant sells Coke products. So there we go. The burning question everyone was wondering.
Yeah.
I am in a bad mood now that I've been looking through this.
It's okay.
So let's get you in a good mood.
Yeah, we have a way to get you in a good mood thanks to our good friend Kyle Sinner. Go ahead, Kyle. Take it away.
I was going to say, let's talk some fantasy football. And
yeah, exactly.
I guess in particular, dynasty fantasy football. Right? So just for viewer transparency, Dylan and Ross, this is first dynasty leagues, correct?
I have been in a dynasty league before. Okay. This is the first one that I've ever done with other people that know what a dynasty league is, however.
That's fair. How about you, Ross? How about you? Sorry.
No, this is my first time ever. People are trading their picks. I don't understand. Why are you trading your picks in a dynasty? Why are you trading your picks? I'm not used to trading picks in a fantasy draft. Are you kidding me? What is going on here?
Yeah, I know, right? Trading inside the draft, right? So it's and so involved in the trade, I can give kind of the insider perspective on like how and why that all came together. But I think so the idea of dynasty is you keep these players year over year. The one that the league will have every year is the rookie draft. So we've got, on top of all these picks in the start, I also have 4 rounds of rookie picks each. So 4 rookie picks for each of the next years. So you've got 4 2023. And those are also tradable assets, either now in the startup or in season at any point, really. So, as you'll see, dynasty, the trading does kind of happen. There's a lot of dynasty geared shows that are just kind of geared just towards trading and like those possibilities. So let me see, how many trades have we had in this league already? I think we're in
quite a bit,
the 5th round now, and there's been at least 4 or 5 different trades. So
this guy, the B something, has only taken quarterback so far.
He has.
Yeah, and that thing too that it's
and I think I understand why.
Right, the start 2. He's also only made 2 picks at this point.
Oh, that's right. Two of those aren't his.
Oh.
Yeah, you can see. Yeah, so on the league board, you'll see if a pick's rated, the manager name at the bottom of that pick slot. So as you'll notice, the B League says you're right though. He does only have 2 quarterbacks. But he's also only made 2 picks. Now what are we at? We're at the 4th. So it seems like he traded away both the 2nd and 3rd round picks. Got another second So it seems like he's been moving around, making a couple trades. Looks like he's got like extra picks in the 8th, an extra pick in the 6th. So, like, I guess his idea was, he's got Patrick Mahomes to start. You get the 101. You get Trey Lance as his second pick. So again, building through the quarterbacks, and from there, I think he's just going to build the rest of his depth. He's got his 2 elite level quarterbacks. Because I don't know how your perspective is, but like the dynasty community, what I've seen so far this year, all 3 of well, not all 3, because there were 5 first-round rookies this year, but 3 of them in particular have all kind of rised up dynasty values quite highly. Lawrence, Lance, and Fields, to the point where all 3 of them are valued as top 12 quarterbacks in dynasty, and none of them have taken a snap in the NFL yet. I think it's just the skill set, certainly for Lance, and like thinking that they can be difference-making quarterbacks akin to Lamar Jackson. Kyler, 3rd overall pick in this draft. So I think it's that, and I think Lawrence, as everyone expects, he's going to be, what Andrew Luck was, just so safe and so productive that, like him being a rookie is very little risk. There's more risk in other players, right? I mean, seeing where Lawrence went in drafts. I mean, in our draft, he went 201. Burrow went 208. I know you were hoping to get him maybe a little even later than that, Dylan. But
I was hoping to get a rookie or second-year quarterback right here. I don't know. I just didn't know the run on quarterbacks. I'm not used to this.
Yeah, and they are so highly valued. And like the point is, like, Lawrence is viewed as less risky right now than Joe Burrow, even though Joe Burrow has played an NFL season. I think the knee injury probably contributed, but like Lawrence is viewed as that kind of safe guy, and like they're like really like all like the top 12 quarterbacks, almost half of them, I'd say 5 of the 12 right now in Dynasty are quarterbacks from the last classes: Herbert, Burrow, Lawrence, Fields, and Lance. So we definitely see that in this draft, like how Fields went the latest at 302. That even seems late in Dynasty startups from where it's been going. Like to see him go out of the second round, that's a little interesting. I know, Ross, you kind of viewed it differently, right? You went McCaffrey and you went Russell Wilson, right? Rather than go with one of the young rookie quarterbacks, you went with Russell Wilson. So good productive move.
I was going to mention, and I was going to ask if this is something that people do, because I kind of went into this saying, okay, with the first 2 selections, I'm going to do something that I'm going to take selections that are more win now than they are dynasty, be ready for the future.
No, and right, so like that makes sense there to go with that quarterback decision. If you're saying I'm taking McCaffrey, I want that high right now to try and win. The best quarterback on the board, probably either Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, but there's an age gap there where in Dynasty, like it makes sense to go Wilson over Rodgers. You got like there's a league where I have Rodgers, and I tried to trade him and a first to get Russell Wilson this year during the whole drama of is he going to play or not, right? And that was kind of I was laughed at, refused, like close to Wilson, right? And that's Rodgers in a first. I know in our startup here, they only went 3-4, and I guess maybe if I made that trade offer now to that manager, I might get it now that we know Rodgers is playing for the year. It shows the gap between them. So I think if you were going to go with a win now quarterback, Russell Wilson made the most sense there.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing because I do want to make sure that I grab players that are going to be viable for the future. It's one of the reasons why I went with Calvin Ridley. Is Calvin Ridley, now that Julio Jones is out of Atlanta? First of all, Calvin Ridley was already a good investment over the past couple of years. He has been. But now I'm looking at him as, okay, he's the clear number 1 in terms of wide receivers there. But is there a drop-off, or is there still the same type of stigma towards wide receivers in Dynasty as there are in redraft leagues, where you usually see folks go running back over wide receiver?
To a certain extent. I mean, we saw it a little bit here. There's that run at the end of the first round into the second round where, what is it? I think it's 6 running backs and 7 picks. And outside of Alvin Kamara, those are all running backs that are on their rookie contracts. I guess Barkley and Chubb at the end of their rookie contracts. But so I think, Devontae Adams was the second receiver taken at 206. So that high end first round, it's going to be mostly quarterbacks, running backs, might get a tight end sprinkled in, whoever tight end 1 in any particular league. But yeah, and I think we've seen kind of that wide receiver, right? It's these, other than Adams, mostly young productive receivers here. Super young in some cases, like Lamb, Jefferson, Metcalf, Brown, all of them in their first seasons. And since then we've gone 6 picks without a receiver like that. It seems like it's very bunched up, right? That early group of running backs went, then the early group of receivers, stretch of running backs were in. Guys like Elliott, Henry. I just took DeAndre Swift. Who knows? Another running back here at 404, to be honest. I don't know if I'll make the pick on the show, of course. We'll see. It might be there. I know we got to see you guys make the McCaffrey pick in on the show. So,
yeah. So I went with Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson. It was between Dalvin Cook or Lamar Jackson for me, but I felt like I could get the gap between Dalvin Cook and I guess the next running back was Saquon Barkley, was big enough for me to accept the gap between Lamar Jackson and I guess now Matt Stafford. Because Justin Jefferson at 2.7 was hard to pass up for me because I also think that he is going to be really good for a long time.
Yeah, and I mean, right now it depends on. I mean, he was the third receiver taken in this draft. I don't think it's shocking to see him go as the first wide receiver in some drafts. I know I've done a few contract auction league drafts, that style of dynasty, and for sure in one of them, Jefferson had the highest average contract of any wide receiver. I know the second one was an auction like T. So I think the first copy of Jefferson went as the highest receiver in that as well. So I don't see him go as the wide receiver 1 in drafts. So you've definitely got to go with your older running back and older quarterback, I guess, relative to, again, the guys you were targeting. You've got this young wide receiver that's kind of this ultimate trade chip right now. So I Jefferson move might be your best value pick of the 3 you've made so far.
Go Tigers, baby.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, I know you were hoping to get Burrow there, which but yeah.
I was just about to ask if you were hoping to be able to double up and have Justin Jefferson and Joe Burrow on your team, Dylan, and then try to circle back around here in 4 picks or so and maybe land Jamar Chase.
I mean, I'm not gonna say he's on my board, but I wouldn't be opposed. Clyde, I need to trade for Clyde. My goal for fantasy is just to have the most amount of players I like, and definitely the most, and not have any players I don't like. I'll never have an Atlanta Falcon on my team.
Okay,
that's one of my rules. B, I was never going to take Tyreek Hill, so it was all good.
And I mean, and that's the thing. Like Dynasty, you can, because you're not just confined to draft league, right? You've got the one draft, and you don't necessarily have the access to get any player you want. If you're, I'm not getting Christian McCaffrey, right? Like you kind of just accept that, and maybe if you can trade up and make the aggressive trade, but I know how little that happens in redraft. But in Dynasty, it really does seem like you can kind of build the team however you want. If you want there, all you got to do is make a trade offer that's big enough to go get them. I mean, maybe it hurts your team and do it, but if you have the players you want and you're happy, that's super important, right? So obviously we want to win. We also want to enjoy the teams we have while winning. So that's a good point, Dylan, of building the team the way you want. You can do it a lot more in Dynasty than you can in redraft.
No. Can I share with you my favorite trade I've ever made in fantasy? Just because it worked out so well for me and so poorly for the person I made the trade with, I kind of feel bad.
Of course.
But I had Maurice Jones-Drew.
Oh.
He was coming off the 1,600 yard year in 2011 and in 2012. Sorry, I was trying to look back and see. I thought maybe I got the trade wrong, but I remember I traded him, and I think it was for Antonio Brown. I'm pretty sure. It was for someone that wasn't supposed to do good that year.
Right.
And ended up doing really well. No, It was CJ Spiller. It was CJ Spiller. I traded Maurice Jones-Drew for CJ Spiller. And what a year that was for me.
There you go. That was
I remember remember 2012. That was my first year playing fantasy. I remember like Fred Jackson seemed like he was a guy for Buffalo. Then CJ Spiller kind of just came out of nowhere, and then he was overdrafted the next year and disappointed fantasy managers. So yeah.
Yeah,
it was never
a good one.
It was that was the brightest bright filler that 2012 season. So good job. It was you bought the best out of CJ Spiller,
and it was and I got rid of the worst of him, Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah,
which he got hurt. He got hurt the week after I traded him.
Woof.
I've definitely
that happened.
Been on the other side of that.
Yeah. I traded, I can't remember who it was. I traded some wide receiver a couple of years ago, and everybody thought I was crazy for trading him away. And I traded him at like week 6 or something, and then week 7 or 8, he ended up getting hurt and all. And it was just like, I felt bad because I don't ever want anyone to get hurt, but I won that trade.
So I'll talk about my most recent trade I've made just because we are on the topic of dynasty, and it does kind of a topic kind of at hand a little bit. So it was a dynasty startup I had done this year. Like I chose Russell Wilson ahead of, in that case, Lawrence was still on the board too. So I was Wilson above all 3 of those rookies, not just Fields and Lance. Lawrence was also there that I passed up on. And then what happened was, so I was kind of building. Maybe I didn't trade enough in the draft because I really ultimately didn't end up liking the team I had. It's a super flex league, and I wasn't really crazy about the quarterbacks I had aside from Russell Wilson. He was one of my favorite picks, actually. I thought I got him in the 4th round, and so I thought it was one of the best. And then suddenly he tears his Achilles, and I managed to get a 2023 first, so a future rookie first for Akers straight up. I thought that's.
Yeah,
he might never reach that. He might, but I don't think he'll ever eclipse that value to where he's worth multiple rookie first round picks. So there, I just said I'm going to go full fire sale. I sold off Daniel Jones straight up for a first. I've got 4 firsts in that 2023 first round so far, and looking to get more. And ultimately, I kind of don't want Wilson. I want one of those rookies. I kind of want to undo that pick and take. Thinking the way I wanted to approach that draft was actually take Wilson, hope that one of the rookies would get back, and I'd pair him with Lance or Fields, right? But then literally the next 3 picks, and I was close to him. I was at the 10, so I just need these 3 rookies to get through 4 picks. It's not guaranteed, but maybe. And then the next 3 picks were those. So I had to pivot completely, and so even though they were taken after, I couldn't. The Fields Lance manager, they got both. They went Fields and Lance. And they're kind of committed to like a rebuild, so they don't want Wilson. The dude who took Lawrence, though, his team is kind of set to win now, so I was able to still cost me Wilson plus. I had to give up Wilson, Anthony Schwartz, the rookie from Cleveland, and a third round rookie pick in the future to get Lawrence. So it's not a huge cost, but it shows that Lawrence is already viewed as even higher value in dynasty than Wilson. Not the case in every league, but it certainly was the case in this league. And I was trying to sell Wilson up, trying to give Wilson a second to get Herbert or Wilson a second to get Dak. People were a little scared of the injury, and people weren't biting on that. So the was to get younger. So I don't think I gave up that much more to get Lawrence. So I'm just hoping that he's not that he is what everyone says he is.
Yeah. Well, certainly he's looked pretty good in training camp as connected to all reports, but we'll see what happens once he gets on the field and in full speed. Kyle, if you don't mind hanging around with me throughout the break here, we're going to step on the break for just a moment over on the audio side, and then Dylan will be back with us for the second part of the show as we continue on with today's episode of Dylan and Ross Save Sports, Full Press Coverage, Full Press Radio Network. So, Kyle, I have to ask, when it comes down to some of the maybe, this bonus content for those that are watching on the video side, for any of those guys that are maybe falling a bit in these dynasty leagues, sort of the sleepers that you're looking for, players that you really like that could be had a little bit later on in the draft.
So I'm a big running back guy. So I'm trying to find the running back value late, and that it's necessarily this player's going so late, but I think it's so I just actually full press coverage, the running backs to avoid. And this year, I've actually been predicting that the last 2 years. I was a complete fade on Darrell Henderson. And this is, to be fair, more of a read thing, but my end point is these 2 running backs I do want to compare. It's draft and dynasty situations, and that's why I want to bring them up. But I was, 2019, 2019, I said avoid Darrell Henderson. Everyone thought, okay, they've drafted him. He's going to replace Todd Gurley. He's going to be a workhorse. He got 39 carries that year, and people were spending a 6th round redraft pick on him. Like it was making all these about Henderson and about Gurley, and it really didn't pay off. And I kind of knew that far away. Like, this on Henderson's ridiculous. Like, really should avoid. Mm-hmm. Last year, it was Raheem Mostert for me. I know he finished 20 strongly, but it was also the context of a lot of the Tevin Coleman, Jerick McKinnon, and Matt Breida all got hurt that year. And I think at the end of the season, I think Breida was active for those plays that Mostert went ham in. But actually, Coleman was active in the divisional round against the Vikings, like double the carries Mostert did. So it was this thing that, Mostert, everyone's expecting him to get 200 carries in 20, but the idea was he wasn't going to in the 49ers, the way they run the committee and with all those guys healthy, he was never going to get that role. The most carries that any 49ers back gotten under Kyle Shanahan is Matt Breida in 2019, I think. Or no, 2018. He had 100. So, no running back really gets all the work, but people were kind of drafting Mostert at a price where that assumption was being made. So I was, again, complete avoid on Mostert. For me this year, it's Chase Edmonds. It's really bad in redraft, but it's also high up there in Dynasty. Like, he's going 5th, 6th of some startups. We'll see in this one because it's super flex. He might slip into the 7th round, but I still think that's too early. I view him and Devin Singletary as very similar players. Like, they both have Josh Allen, Kyler Murray running quarterback touchdown upside. They both have another running back to take away that touchdown upside. James Conner, Zach Moss. Both have gotten more red zone carries, goal line carries in particular, carries inside the 5 than what Singletary and Edmonds. Edmonds has 2 carries inside the 5 his entire career, and he's about to enter his league. It's a crazy stat. He doesn't. He gets a lot of red zone targets, 3rd on the team in red zone targets last year. So clearly they like throwing him there. But he's not really going to run you in, and I think that takes away that upside. And
definitely,
I think it's the same for Singletary with Moss. But what we're seeing in drafts is there's a 4-gap difference, 4 rounds between where Edmonds is going and where Singletary is going. So it tells me Edmonds is going too early, but also tells me that's value. So Singletary's been one guy I've been getting. I even like Zach Moss. I think they're both values, and I think they can both be. They're both going late enough that I'd be willing to draft either. It's funny because I do have Moss in Dynasty and in redraft, but I just have 0 shares. He's just going that much earlier than Singletary. I'm just not to take him, but I've gotten, I think I'm in 10 Dynasty leagues right now, and I think I've got 4 of them, 3 or 4 of them. So
he says, ladies and gentlemen, he says he is in 10 Dynasty leagues at the moment. By the way, we're back over on the audio side, continuing on. Kyle talked a little bit about running backs to avoid and then some comparison between Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, some of these other guys that are available out there. But 10 Dynasty leagues, he just said that he is in right now.
Sorry if my transition was a little long there, but yeah.
No.
I think the question there was, who do I like late? And so Singletary, I guess, is the answer there in Dynasty, but also in redraft. I think it's a good chance to. I mean, he could be the lead back there. I don't think it's for sure going to be Moss. I would venture Moss, but I think there's a chance that Singletary gets more work than what's expected. Certainly where he's being drafted.
Yeah, absolutely. So we went to the break a little bit late, so we've only got about 20 minutes left in the show. Kyle, would you be cool to hang out with us for the full duration? Do you mind? Nice. He's always here anyway with us over here because he participates in the chat, which all of you can do as well if you're watching along. Dylan, you good?
I can't hear Dylan right now.
Yeah, I think he's muted.
I've been talking
the whole time. Muted. That's why I asked, are you good? Because I feel like I saw your mouth move, but I wasn't able to hear you. So that makes sense.
You know what I did? I got in, unmuted myself, forgot I unmuted myself. I muted myself again.
Gotta love it.
Can I just interject real quick? Because we did talk about trades earlier, and I know there's been a few trades in this startup we've done, but the first trade, the only one that involved a first round pick, I was involved with. Actually, my co-host Brad on the Full Press Fantasy Pod, he was sitting at the 109, so 109 204, and I was at the turn, the 112 201. And the way I view the dynasty landscape for quarterback, I have a top tier of 6. And so Superflex League, where I will say, the ability to start 2 quarterbacks every week, that to me makes quarterback lead position. So knowing that, I wanted to get a player in the top tier of what I view as the most important position. Actually, what kind of opened this up for me was I noticed the people who were putting their pick lock, the guy at 108, the fantasy sports doc, Dr. Jim Ferretti, he put the 108 up for trade. So I was kind of remembering he's willing to move that pick. If Dylan doesn't take a quarterback at 106, that guaranteed either Jackson or Dak Prescott, again, one of my top 6 dynasty quarterbacks, to be there at 108. So as soon as you took Dalvin Cook, Dylan, and it opened up that trade talks, and ultimately what happened, Tyreek Hill went next, which I think was a big surprise. And for further thoughts on that, I know that's my co-host, and do another show, the Dynasty Gambit on the Going Network, Agent of Chaos, who picked Hill.
Well, I mean, his name's Agent of Chaos, and he
so he's actually everything into So anyway, I'm about the idea. So check out the Dynasty Gambit this week on the Going for Two Live Network. It'll be Thursday at 7:30. But anyway, so once that happened, Doc was pretty set on, okay, Jack's not going to trade that pick. But then I went to the very next pick, which was my co-host Brad. So I were in discussions. I kind of made him an offer, and he rejected it, obviously. And he'd rather have Jackson, which is fair. But then I was talking to Brad about that, and I said, I'll make you that same offer I just did, which is to picks in the 2nd, 4th, and 6th round, which is where I would have had the 201, the 40, the 601. So just getting 3 picks later in that, move up 3 spots in the first. So I'm moving up 3 spots to in total move down 9 spots, but the first. And I mean, Brad liked Dak Prescott, but the guys he was really looking for there are the guys he ended up taking at in particular at Jonathan Taylor. So for him, it worked out that he wanted to pair Taylor with Lawrence, a young running back with a young quarterback, to a Jags fan. So I kind of had a feeling he was going to go for Lawrence there.
Yeah.
Personally, if I had 112 and the board went as it did, I probably would have done that exact same start. Jonathan Taylor, Trevor Lawrence. Again, I really wanted that top 6 quarterback, so I went with Dak, and ultimately I ended up with Nick Chubb, and I'm pretty happy. He's my 4th ranked running back in Dynasty. We'll see now what the rest of the trade ends up being. With the 401 took George Kittle, and I'm up in 2 picks. We'll see. The guy would have probably taken anyway is still on the board. I wasn't thinking Kittle here in this league. I do have quite a bit of Kittle Dynasty leagues. Usually they have tight end premium, or there's sometimes start 2 tight end. So this league I've kind of I won't be as aggressive on time. I've been pretty aggressive getting Kittle and Waller Dynasty leagues this year, startups, trades, in leagues where the premium, the scoring is there. In this league without the premiums, okay, I want to really build through quarterback and running back. So anyway, that was my idea behind that trade. And I mean, it worked out that what I wanted to do and what Brad wanted to do kind of coincided really well. Happy with the trade. So
that's great.
And Ross, I'm not gonna blow up your spot here, but I know who you want at 4-9.
Do you? Because I have no idea.
Just open up the draft and take a look. It should be at least, maybe 1 or 2 scrolls down, but I know who you want. It's easy who you want, Ross. Is it not?
I have no idea.
You don't know who you want. I am disappointed in you. Maybe you just don't. Maybe you don't see.
Maybe I just don't see the person. Especially if it's 1 or 2 scrolls down, then it's very possible that I'm just gonna pass it up and not register it at all.
I texted it to you.
Oh, thank you.
So I don't want to blow up your spot.
But okay, yeah. Okay, that's the name I was trying to find, but okay, there he is. All right, yeah. No, that's exactly the name I was trying to find, but I thought I couldn't find him, and so I assumed he was already drafted. So I assume that means that since you know that, you will then be drafting him at 4-7.
Nope, Ross, I'm not that kind of fantasy player. I want us all to have.
We know Dylan's chase if he's there.
That's right.
Maybe.
I don't know if that's the player you wanted, Ross.
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. You never know. I'm a wild card. I might draft Clinton Dix.
That would be impressive.
Former Packer.
League. That's right.
IDP. So
yeah.
I do want to mention my favorite draft blunder that I, as commissioner, did not fix. Just because I found it funny and everyone else found it funny. It was the first round. Someone was drafting Alvin Kamara. Ross, you were there for this league.
Mm-hmm.
He was drafting Alvin Kamara, so he typed in search player Alvin Kamara and accidentally misclicked and drafted Kamar Aiken.
That's right. I forgot about that.
That name seems familiar to me.
He is a wide receiver 18 years ago. No.
Yeah, he had like one great year with the Baltimore Ravens.
Probably at some point.
Yeah.
Probably at some point. But he was still on Sleeper's list.
No, CFL. Okay, for some reason. I mean, yeah. Ravens. Okay, he was with the Ravens for a little bit.
He had like one really impressive season. Like he had like 900 plus yards with the Ravens back in like 2016, 2015, something like that. And and then just it never worked out after that. Like he had a great year though.
900 receiving yards in 2015. That's more than half his career. His career is 1,700. So yeah.
So that's and to do that in 2020, not
great. not ideal. I would say the least.
Like I intended to draft this running back who is in his prime, that is used all over the field and gets double-digit red zone touchdowns every year, and instead I
scored 6 touchdowns in the season. In the championship game, if you were left there.
Right. And instead I drafted Kamar Aiken, who had a great year in 2015.
What a season, man.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
Remember this is Kamar Aiken made me think of this guy. Remember whenever the Saints fans really, really wanted Jeremy Maclin?
Yes.
Remember the race for Jeremy Maclin?
Yes.
I'm a Raven.
That's what made me think of it.
I do want to shout out to Jerry Maclin. He was the first ever fantasy league I ever won. He was an integral part of that. It was the year after he tore his ACL, so in 2014, and so he was going as like a good value in drafts. Like I think #1 receiver on the Eagles. I think he was going in like the 7th or 8th round, and he turned out 1,000 yards. And I'm pretty sure double-digit touchdowns. I had him and Antonio Brown, and those are my 2 wide receivers every week, and they just killed it.
Not bad. Wow.
As a Packers fan, that was a good Eddie Lacy year, so that helped.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think about who is I won my IDP league last year on, who was it?
Trey Hendrickson.
No, I had I'll have to see if I can dig up the roster. I won my IDP league last year on the back of like a couple of defensive players who just had phenomenal years last year. But I had one league that I won, I think 2 years ago. No, it was last year, on the back of Ryan Fitzpatrick, who just had like the right big games, like had the big games at the right time, like that big game-winning pass that he threw against the Las Vegas Raiders, where he was like getting his face ripped off.
To be fair, yeah. So I've benefited and been the victim of that. Last year, I definitely won a league with Myles Gaskin, and part of it was that game against the Raiders. Massive. He had a really long touchdown catch. But I was definitely victim to the Ryan Fitz 2019, like that game, the Dolphins and Bengals. There was a shootout, and an opponent. My opponent definitely had one of them. I'm pretty sure it was Fitzpatrick in their lineup. Yeah, I almost won the league and lost it. As a Packers fan, this is afflicting, but I lost it on the Aaron Jones run at the end of that Week 16 game against the Vikings on Monday night, basically late in the 4th quarter, 60-yarder. I was winning before the touchdown, and then I lost because of the touchdowns. That was and that league's still going. That's my oldest league, actually, and that's still going. Awesome. It's been going 12. So I've lost twice in the championship game. Never actually won that league yet. So I lost the championship game. It was I think I lost by like 100 points. It's like it wasn't even close. So it's like, okay, we're meant to be. This one was tough. Maybe this is why I hate Raheem Mostert, because I didn't start him that week against the Rams, and if I had played him instead of Mike Boone, I would have won. So I can only blame myself, but I'm Fitzpatrick, just because I don't like him either.
Yeah, there you go. I think that he could be a part of either some heartbreaks in fantasy this year or some championships in fantasy this year with the weapons that he's got in Washington.
Considering it's super flex, I am curious to see where he will go with draft.
4-9.
Because we've had that
was the guy
quarterback run. Right. Fields 301, and we're over a full round since that, and only 2 quarterbacks have gone since then. Yeah. So that lull. So we'll see where the second wave of quarterbacks, who goes where, and how that all ends up.
Mm-hmm. It'll be good stuff.
I love Dynasty. I love drafting.
Yeah, me too. I love a good fantasy draft, and I'm really getting into dynasty formats. I really am kind of I would prefer the dynasty format or the IDP format now, as opposed to a standard redraft league. I know IDP is redraft, but I guess you could do IDP dynasty too. But the only IDP league that I do is IDP is a redraft. But I like those formats better than just like a standard redraft league.
Yeah, no, I love contract and salary cap formats. And
I've never done part that of the before.
Part I enjoy about it is like it's like a normal dynasty league. You've got rookie drafts, and I think with that, like, you still have the rookie picks, and it's in that case it's just okay. The 101 gets this type of salary, similar how the NFL kind of it's now allotted salary spots for each of the rookie picks now. So usually done, and then from there though, you have the rookie draft every year, but you also have a free agency auction every year. So you've got players that are when you sign them for contract amounts in terms of dollar figures against the salary cap, but you also sign them on years. So players who are no longer under contract will then enter the full kind of like the NFL every year. You auction on those players, and I love doing auction drafts. I've really format, and so my favorite format is contract and salary leagues because you get 2 drafts every year. You've got to do the rookie draft, but you also have to do the free agency draft. So who doesn't love more drafts? And B, that can be auction, and it necessitates that it's auction. And I think it's so great. And to that, I went to a contract league this year that is IDP. So we did the contract salary with the full offense and the full IDP. It was a fun experience, fun bidding process for that.
That sounds awesome. Dylan, you have anything else for today's show that you want to go through?
I found out that now Twitter.
Twitter update.
Once, if it's gonna be really annoying. Once, like, say you're like laying down, because that's something people do. Say like you're on Twitter now, it's gonna do the whole like changing landscapes once you're like laying down, and I hate it.
Oh, it's not a phone thing that you can turn off?
You can, but it's an extra step.
That's true. Who wants to not? Like, you're sitting on the couch, you don't want to be lazy, right? So, yeah.
Exactly. I also just want to say that the Houston Rockets are the best team in history, and that we're winning the Summer League. So
fantastic.
Of which I know that the Rockets and the Raptors were drafting close. What do you think of the Raptors, the player of the Raptors? Do you guys think that was a good pick for them, or because I know everyone was thinking Suggs would go there, but
the pick sugged. No, I'm joking. I actually do. I do really like Scotty Barnes. I was immediately sold on him, and then immediately his first bucket in the Summer League, he hit a 3, and they yelled "Bang, bitch!" And it was really funny, and I was
love that swagger.
Immediately sold on him.
Well, I made my mind up.
No, I thought it was hilarious.
Because that's bad. Like this, the last 15 years have been like it's a crazy roller coaster, right? You've got Banyarny, the first overall pick, Chris Bosh. And that team did nothing. And Bosh kind of left them empty-handed. They almost made the playoffs that last year Bosh was there. Bosh, the game against, I think it was against the Bucks, where he missed a putback that was super easy. They would have won the game, and if they had won the playoffs. So it was like, it's kind of like a microcosm of the Bosch's tenure with the Raptors. But, they get Rudy Gay and they make that trade, and they suddenly get a bench, and the team just takes off. They almost traded Kyle Lowry like a decade ago.
Right.
And like now it's finally happened. Now I think it's kind of like the fact that led to an NBA championship. Yes, getting Kawhi Leonard, awesome. Masai Ujiri being massive on that trade. Obviously, the only way you're going to get a superstar like that in Toronto is through trade, obviously, but or apparently. So it's been a crazy roller coaster, but now the rebuild begins.
Gotta love it. Kyle, we appreciate you so much for joining us. Make sure you follow Kyle on.
Ross, it's closing on the hour, but we still have 6 minutes left to reach an hour on the show.
I gotta go.
Okay.
Kyle, we appreciate you very much for coming through, man. You can follow Kyle on Twitter at Sinra Says. You can check out Full Press Fantasy. And what was the other show as well that you mentioned that was coming up this week?
Yeah, so the Dynasty That'll be Thursday at 7:30 Eastern. It'll be on the Going for Two Live network, YouTube channel. At Going for Two Live, we'll tweet all that out once the show is live. And yeah, that's every Thursday. We do that up until the season. And then in season, I'll be converting over to Monday nights and doing a pregame show Monday nights with actually all three of my co-hosts on Monday nights are in this Dynasty League with us. You guys have gotten to start to know them already. But yeah, definitely check all that out at Going for Two. And again, the Full Press, the great shirt from the Full Press Coverage store. Yeah. But at FPC_fantasy pod, my co-host Brad and I are actually recording the final episode of our tier series tonight. So we've gone through quarterbacks, 2 episodes of wide receivers, going through the redraft tiers and how we viewed them, like who are our top players, not just the rankings, but really the tiers, and breaking them down that way. As we saw in this Dynasty draft, like the tier break, okay, this early run on running back, early run on wide receivers, that's super useful to know that in drafts. So definitely check all that out. Thank you very much.
I love it. Of course, we appreciate you being here. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Myself, Dylan Sanders. For Dylan Sanders, I am Ross Jackson at Ross Jackson Nola. You can find Dylan on Twitter at Dilly Sanders. Dylan, got a final word for the folks?
Go Rockets.